Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, welcome to today's reading from the Basics of Bhagavad Gita. We were reading about the chapter, the wheels of the... Sorry, I've lost it. Don't want to change the name of the chapter. It was called... The Wheel of Samsara and the Law of Karma. So we were reading about the karma yesterday. That karma is of three types. First is the karma where you just do the karma and gather some good points, good credits or punyas. And then there's akarma. Akarma literally means inaction. Okay, the second one was vikarma, which is the sinful reactions which give us bad reactions, which you call papa. And the third is akarma. Akarma literally means inaction, but this does not mean a physical creation of actions or avoidance of work. Akarma refers to spiritual activities, that is, activities performed on behalf of or for pleasure of God. Because they are so performed without selfish desire, they do not implicate the performer or entangle him. In other words, akarma does not bring material reactions. Examples of this are chanting the names of God, worshipping Him and serving Him, and other acts of bhakti. I think you can see probably my reflection because the sun has gone down now here and has been a bit of overcast day. Okay, so in other words, akarma does not bring material reactions. Examples of this like the names of God, worshipping Him and serving Him, and other acts of bhakti. By akarma, one develops devotion for the Lord, detachment from the worldly affairs, purity and spiritual happiness. Akarma liberates one from the cycle of birth and death and takes one back to the spiritual world. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Yajnarthat karmano Anyatra loko ayam karma bandhana tad artham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. This is from chapter 3, verse 9 in Bhagavad Gita. It's translated as, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. Now, the punya, karma and spiritual activity, which is the akarma, they are not the same. People commonly imagine punya or ordinary pious activity to be spiritual activity, which is akarma. But the two are actually quite different, and it is important to be clear in our mind about this difference. Punya or the karma is good material activity pertaining to the material body. But performing this, one can get promoted to a better material situation within the material world, but one cannot go beyond it. Just like in the case of a prisoner who may be transferred to a better jail cell with more facilities, but who is not allowed to leave the jail. Akarma or devotional service to the Lord, on the other hand, being fully spiritual, has nothing to do with this material world. It is on the platform of the soul. Bhakti is not meant for material promotion, but it is meant to transfer us to the spiritual world beyond the cycle of birth and death. So akarma, it is beyond both karma and vikarma. Now, so we understand akarma is on the platform of the soul. Karma only is on the platform of the body. And the vikarma gives us sinful reactions. If we do bad sins, we have to either come back to this earth and go through that account again, and it's like we have to nullify our karmas, bad karmas, and if it's good, elevated to a heavenly planet or something. But when that comes to an end, we fall down again onto the earthly planets. But by doing the devotional service akarma, we may slowly get near the Lord's abode, that is Golok Vrindavan. That should be our aim in our life, and we should always think that hopefully this is my last birth, and I'm gonna do the best of this bad bargain of this life, as Prabhupada says. So the instant and delayed karma, we have seen that for every action we perform, there is a reaction. The reaction may come immediately or after some time, or even after a long time. For example, a thief caught stealing on the street will face an immediate reaction. That is an example of instant karma. Eating contaminated food will bring its reaction as an upset stomach. Now, this is delayed. Now, the reaction to an illicit activity or an unlawful activity may come even 20 years later. For example, it's not unlawful, illicit, illicit as we say in a bad relationships outside your married life. For example, somebody might get some bad sexual disease, etc. Now this is karma that is delayed still further. So in this way we can extend this logic to understand that karmic reactions for actions performed now may come even in future lifetimes. Now this is a crucial point to understand. So many people, however, want to know why reactions to our karma do not all come in this life itself. Why the spillover to future lives, they ask. So let's see why. Now the logic for believing that reactions to our karma may come in future lives. Some karmic reactions do certainly come in the same life, but there are many that do not. So here's why we say that karmic reactions may even come in future lives. So, death, it interrupts the fructifying of our karma. We perform so many activities every day. Each karma must bring its own reaction as per the law of karma. And all the reactions do not come immediately, as we have seen. So at any given moment, there will be so many karmic reactions we are yet to receive. Therefore, at the time of death or at the moment of death, there will be always a stock of unfructified karmic reactions. Since death has interrupted the natural action, the reaction flow, it is evident that we will have to take a next birth to receive those karmic reactions. What we say in Hindi, prarabdha. When we face something in our life and we say, I have led a good life, and how come I am seeing all this? So the reactions are coming from our past lives. So different karmic reactions or the different karmic seeds take different times to fructify. Every karma we performed is like a seed that we sow. Every seed has its own nature that makes it bear fruit at a certain time. So we have very famously heard about that bamboo shoot which is grown in China or maybe northeast part of India. When which is put underground, it takes years to come out as a proper plant, and when it comes out, it is really glorious. It's very, very huge, and it looks very pretty as well. And then we have on the other hand, if we sow, for example, methi seeds or the fenugreek seeds, even in this country which is supposed to be not very tropical here in UK, even they come here say in 3 weeks time, if it's good weather, even if I've sown them outside. Sorry about the noise, I'm sitting outside in the garden. So you can hear the noises. Okay, now if we plant seeds of papaya, mango, neem and pea, apple, etc., each will produce fruit at different times according to its intrinsic nature. One may bear fruit very soon and another very late after several years. Similarly, all karmic seeds will not bear fruit at the same time, rather following their intrinsic quality, that is, depending on the nature of the karma, they will fructify at different times. Some karmic seeds naturally take a short time to fructify and some a long time. Therefore, according to their nature, some karmic reactions may come in this life and some in future lives. Now, next is conditions have to be right. So we have read that the logic for believing that reactions to our karma may come in future lives. The first reason was that the death interrupts the fructifying of our karma. The second was that different karmic seeds take different time to fructify. And the third is conditions have to be right, which is some karmic reactions can come only in certain situations, and if those situations do not presently prevail, the reactions will have to wait for the right time. Now let's read a story to illustrate this point. A certain hunter killed 100 birds even as the parents were alive. The hunter was to suffer for his sin by seeing his own 100 sons dying before him. But scriptures say that one can obtain a son only when one has a certain stock of punya. The hunter had to perform many pious activities in future lives in order to accumulate the piety required for having 100 sons. This took no less than 50 lifetimes. In this lifetime, the former hunter was now eligible to receive the karmic reactions of killing the 100 birds. He had to suffer the agony of his 100 sons dying before him. This man was none other than the king Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kauravas. Hence Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 17, Gahana karmano gatihi, that is, the intricacies of karma are very hard to understand. Now the fourth reason is the body is only a dress. A thief may commit a crime when he is wearing a white shirt and is arrested a few days later when he is wearing, say, a red shirt. Does the color of his shirt make any difference? After all, the person is the same and he must suffer punishment regardless of what clothes he is wearing. Similarly, since the body is only a dress for the soul, it does not matter whether the reactions come when the same dress is being worn, that is, or a different dress, that is, some future life. Isn't it very simple and a sublime logic? It is. And the fifth is forgetfulness of the cause is no excuse. Now, this is explained as a thief may make the plea that he does not remember having committed a particular theft, but if found guilty, he or she will be punished. Similarly, our forgetfulness of the cause of our suffering or enjoyment will not alter it. Even though we may not remember, there are higher authorities in this universe who keep record and do remember. Hence the karmic reactions will certainly come in an appropriate life when the time is right. Now, the all important question, can good karma cancel the bad karma? Generally, one must face the reactions for good karma, that is the punya, and the bad karma, that is the sin or the pap, separately. That is, good reactions for the good karma and bad reactions for the bad karma. The story of King Mriga mistakenly giving in charity the same cow to two different brahmanas is appropriate in this regard. As a result of the sin, the king had to take the body of a lizard, and as a result of his pious activities, he ascended later to the heavenly planets. This story appears in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is, however, a system of prayashchit or atonement available in the Karma Kand section of Vedas by which certain kinds of sinful reactions may be nullified or mitigated by performance of certain ritualistic pious activities for atonement. Now, although the sinful reactions may be counteracted successfully in this manner, the propensity to commit sin does not disappear. Hence, one performs sinful activity again and again and remains bound to the material world. Unlimitedly or more beneficial than this ritualistic atonement process is the path of bhakti to Lord Krishna, as the great sage Shukadev Goswami declares in the Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 6, Chapter 1, verse 15. Kechit kevalya bhaktya vasudeva parayanah agam dhunvanti kartanyana nitharam iva bhaskara. Translated, only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. The individual and collective karma. So we have read that if we have done bad karma, we have to pay for it. If we have good karma, we will have some kind of good time. So when the life is going good, just remember we must have done some good karma, so life is going good. And when we are suffering, just remember our bad karma or the vikarma, that is being cleared out as well. So individual and collective karma, while we all have to individually face the reactions of our karma, the sum total of the karma of a certain group of people may also affect the whole group as a whole. Examples are plane crashes, earthquakes, and so on, where people in large numbers suffer similar kind of fate. Their karma has brought them all together to die in a certain manner. Now, the word which we hear a lot in our lectures when we initially come to Krishna consciousness, and otherwise as well, prarabdha karma and sanchit karma. Sanchit karma is the sum total of all our past karmic reactions. Prarabdha karma is the portion of our karmic reactions that has fallen due to us in this lifetime. It is according to prarabdha karma that one is born in a certain family, with a certain kind of body, with a certain amount of happiness, distress, and a certain kind of death, and so on. So what is destiny or fate? Destiny is nothing but the aggregate of karmic reactions that have presently borne fruit or will shortly bear fruit. The destiny for our present life is simply our prarabdha karma. Therefore, it is truly said, man is the maker of his own destiny. Now, is there scope for free will? So, free will, I don't know, what do we say free will in Hindi? क्या हमारी को भगवान ने थोड़ी कुछ किसी किस्म की फ्रीडम दी है, स्वतंत्रता दी है? There must be a word for it. I'll find it. People ask, if everything is destined, do we have any free will at all? Firstly, not everything is destined. Destiny is what happens to us as the result of our past activities that cannot be avoided. But our free will lies in how we respond to that, and generally how we act in life. Free will is never destroyed. However, our destiny, that is our habits and attitudes, born out of association of many years and indeed many lifetimes, may influence the way we use our free will. So we should try to cultivate good spiritual company so that we can develop good habits, healthy, positive attitude, and proper spiritual desires. Then the exercise of our free will lead us to perfection in life. Now, the choice exists before performing karma, not after. Now, this is very important. Every karma we perform is like a word spoken, an arrow shot, a bullet fired. So once done, it is done. It cannot be changed. It must, in due course of time, bring its reaction. I remember when we were in school, we used to say, done is done, done after giving the exams, that okay, we have done it. Now the results are in teachers' hands. We have done our best. No need to, lament, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. So similarly, a karma is like a spoken word, an arrow shot, or a bullet fired. So our choice of free will exists before we perform the karma. Once we perform it, we have no choice but to accept the reaction. Consider, for instance, that a man has jumped off a building. Before he jumped, he had a choice to jump or not to jump. But once he has jumped, he no longer has a choice. He must face the reaction of the jump. Now, death is his destiny, but it became so only after he exercised his choice and he jumped. So that is what destiny is all about. Destiny is simply the sum total of karmic reactions waiting for us. So when they say in common literature or common kahawats, like we say, or idioms, that man is the maker of his own destiny. It is very true, isn't it? So that we may not remember what action caused a particular reaction is not relevant. In other words, destiny is the product of the use or misuse of our own free will. We have no one to blame but ourselves for our sufferings. Who can we blame when we bite our own tongue? Now we are in a position to answer the following question that people commonly ask. That why do good things happen to good people? We all have done that. We all ask. The answer is because these good people had done something bad in previous lives and are now facing these reactions as their destiny. For the good actions that they are doing now, they will receive the good reactions in the future. After all, every action will lead to an appropriate reaction. Of course, people generally perform a mixture of good and bad karma. So the reactions also come in mixed forms. So that's why, like the title of that famous film we saw many years ago, 2 decades ago, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. So life is what? A lot of misery and a little bit of nice happiness here and there. Because we have done all that and we deserve each and every situation which we are facing in our life. So since coming to Krishna consciousness, if we have learned what is karma, vikarma and akarma, so we should be a little bit more careful in our speech, in our actions, and that will ensure that our future will be not painful. Using the same reasoning, we can understand why good things happen to bad people. We can understand this easily with the example of silo, which is a container to store grain. You must have seen in the pictures or documentaries or while traveling on train, the silos where they store the fresh grain. So if you don't know, I'll just read out what it is. Fresh grain is added periodically from the top and the grain for daily use is removed regularly from an opening at the bottom. Consider that in a particular year there was bad grain, and in the next year the grain harvested was of good quality. In the second year, when the farmer uses the grain for his personal consumption, he may continue to get inferior quality grain even though he has put superior quality grain in the silo. This is because the stock of the inferior grain of the previous year has not been exhausted. Similarly, if we are living good lives now, we may experience many miseries if our stock of past bad karma has not been exhausted. Once that is done, however, the stock of our present good karma will begin to bear the fruit. Now, freedom from karma and vikarma. As we have seen earlier, both good karma, which is punya, and bad karma, which is sin or the pap, are causes of bondage to this material world. It is only by surrendering to Lord Krishna and engaging in his devotional service we can become completely free from this miserable bondage of law of karma. Thus, after death, we can return home to the kingdom of God for an eternal life of bliss. So, with this, our reading from the chapter The Wheels of Samsara comes to an end, and tomorrow we'll continue with the next chapter, which is Material Nature and Time. So, thank you, Niti. I hope you all had a blissful week and are all raring to start a new, fresh week tomorrow. And I'll ask for forgiveness if I've said something wrong or if I've hurt any of your thoughts or sentiments with my words. They were all from me. They were not coming from the disciplic succession or the parampara. And I shall see you all tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.